Hi, church. Good to see you again. I wanted to give as brief an update as I possibly could about the close of the message last week on the prodigal son. And by way of reminder, what we communicated last week was that the story of the prodigal son isn't primarily about the younger brother. That's the one that gets all the press, but it was really about the older brother and his hardened heart and his pride that he felt he was good enough to ask for his father anything he wanted. And that was really clear in the story. As you remember, Jesus gave three parables: the story of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost son, all in response to the religious leaders who were listening to him and basically judged him for hanging out with what they call tax collectors and sinners. So they had a very hardened, prideful attitude about being self-righteous. And in this story of the lost sons, Jesus finally exposes the older brother as them, the self-righteous one. And the young man, when asked by his dad to come in and celebrate the fact that his brother was dead, was now alive, was lost, was now found, the older brother says to his dad, without even calling him by his name, "Father, Dad, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. But when this son of yours who has just squandered your property with prostitute comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him." So you sense the bitterness in his heart of being cheated. He has ultimately no relationship with his father. He's really no different than his younger brother. He just has a different attitude and motive as to why he serves. It's ultimately to get his father's things, not his father. And what Jesus was saying in the end of this parable is that the younger brother knows he was lost. And the problem with being an older brother in this story is he didn't understand that he was just as far from God as his younger brother. So what we learn from this story ultimately is there are two ways to be spiritually lost. One is by just living licentiously, great word, isn't it? Living bad, immorally, and running off and just doing whatever you want with no sense of consequence, or if there is a consequence, you're going to, I don't know how you're going to deal with that. You don't care. That's what I remember about being the younger brother. But the great part of this story was that Jesus is saying in the end that the younger son who repented because he knew he was lost. But the problem with the older brother is he didn't know he was lost because he was self-righteous. He was counting on himself and his own good works. And Jesus is trying to expose our hearts and say, look, we can't be good enough to get to God. It's just not going to happen. So there's two ways to be spiritually lost: being very bad, or by being actually trying to be very good, thinking that you can save yourself. And so I love what Tim Keller said at the end of the story. Only people who know they're lost have any hope of being found. Boy, that is the story. So here's the takeaway for us, church, as we go forward in this new year. I quoted Micah 6:8. This is what God requires of us once we've come to Christ: act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly before God. I just think that is such a paramount attitude to carry through life as a believer. To do things the right way, but to love mercy, especially towards those who don't. To exhibit the heart of God and what he showed us to others. And then lastly, to just walk humbly before God. I just have found this to be my life call. I don't do a good job of it all the time, that's for sure. But I know that God's Spirit speaks to me when I'm not, lets me know. So I hope this helps you as we move forward, that you would act justly, love mercy towards others, and particularly walking humbly before your God. If you do this, I promise you, you will find peace in your life that you've never before known. And I'm sure on that day, when you meet the Lord face to face, you will hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant." I love you guys, and look forward to getting back with you in a couple weeks. God bless you.